Hi friends, I'm super excited to be sharing a new layout for the Shimmers Paints design team. I am going to be using a combination of the May color kits and the April color kits from last month for this layout, and I love how the colors look together. So I started the layout with Foundations Mixed Media White Cardstock, and I am taking my T-square ruler and making just a grid pattern on the background. I didn't measure the width of the lines. I just kind of eyeballed to make sure they were as much as possible the same width apart. And then I turned the paper and I did the same thing going the other direction. So I'm just making kind of like this grid on the background. And then I'm going to be using paints from both of the color kits. So the first color that I'm putting on here is Spritz Powder Puff, and this is from the May color kits. I love this blue. It's a beautiful, soft, shimmery blue. And then I added in the Vibes Don't Rain on My Parade, which is also from the May color kits, because I wanted the color to be a little bit more bold and a little bit more navy to match the pattern paper. So I added that. And then I used the Shimmers Pull Me Close. That's the lighter kind of aqua blue. And that's from, I think that's from a few color kits ago. And then I used the pink is Piggy Pink, and that was from the April color kits. And that's a beautiful pink color. And then the yellow is a Shimmers Bumbly Bee. So that is super shiny and shimmery. And the background, the colors on the background, oh my goodness. In person, when you can move the paper and see all of the different variations and color, the shimmer and shine is absolutely gorgeous. So I went and painted just some random squares on the background, knowing that I was also going to be using pattern paper. So I took 4 different pattern papers. 3 of them are from the April color kits. And then one of them, that darker navy, is from the May color kits. And I cut squares that were 1 1/8 inch square. So width and height was both 1 1/8 inch. And so then I took my Tim Holtz edge distresser and distressed the edges of each of the squares. And now I'm going to go and plug in the random patterned papers all throughout those different squares. And the most important thing is when I was painting on the background and picking different squares to paint, I just made sure I didn't put the same color next to each other. And I tried to do the same with the patterned papers. So I know that kind of colored out area that I have right there in the kind of left center is going to be where my photo is. So I made sure not to waste any pattern paper or paint behind where the photo is going to be. And then once I added all of the patterned papers, I think I cut 7 of each. I did. I cut 7 of each of the patterned paper squares. So it was really just one strip of paper, 1 1/8 inch long. And then I was able to cut plenty of squares out of that. So I cut those, and then I went back and filled in the squares that I didn't have with some more paint, and then added splatters of the paint. And then here what I'm doing is I am taking my X-Acto knife, and I'm going and poking holes at the very end of each line, pencil line that I have. And then I'm doing just 1 hole in the center of each line. So going vertically, 1 hole in the center, and then going horizontally, 1 hole in the center. And I'm going to do just one long stitch. Well, it's actually 2 long stitches. So I started at the top, went down to the middle, put it through the back, and then came up, taped it, and then came back up through that same hole and finished the line. And the reason I did the center of each of those lines going vertically is just to make sure that the thread didn't move around a whole lot. Because if I just did 1 long thread, if you move it or, kind of move the page, you would be able to see the pencil marks, and I didn't want that. So I did just have 1 hole in the center of each of those big long lines on the grid to make sure that that thread is really good and secure. And then I put my photo down, and the thread I used is embroidery thread, and I used the same colors as the pattern paper. So I had navy, pink, yellow, and kind of a lighter aqua blue. And then here, what I am doing is I am taking my, sorry, my husband's phone is in the camera. I was talking to my mom while I was making this page. So she was with me as I was creating. I took one of the pattern papers from the May Color Kits, that a beautiful blue floral, and I fussy cut out all those little tiny blue flowers. And then I'm going to be adding those to clusters with some flowers that I pulled out of a piece of patterned paper. I fussy cut out a bunch of other flowers from a piece of patterned paper that was in my stash, and added those into the cluster. So I've got all of the similar colors of flowers as I have on the background. So I've kind of got like an orangey yellow, a pink, and then I'm going to have some little teeny tiny light aqua flowers thrown in there. And then I'm mixing in all of those navy flowers. And I also, when I fussy cut out the flowers, I also cut out some of the leaves to stick into my clusters. So I'm just building the clusters on the top left of the photo and bottom right of the photo, and using craft foam of different levels to adhere down all of those flowers. And then I curled up the petals of each flower. I did snip in between when I was fussy cutting. I kind of snipped in between the petals so that I would be able to curl those up really well, and then also did the same thing with the leaves, so I could bend those up. And then I'm going to use just a little bit of tangled thread, and I'm going to be putting that behind the little flare epoxy stickers that come in the color kits. So I used one from the May kit, I used one from the April kit, and then I used one from a past kit, and I'm not sure exactly which kit it was, but I had cute little flare epoxy embellishments there. So that one says "So Happy," that blue one, and I'm adding some tangled thread. So I did use tangled thread in the aqua color, yellow, and pink. I was also going to use navy, but it ended up being just a little bit too dark, so I didn't use that. But I'm using some pink there behind that blue piece. And then this is a set of sequins that I had left over from one of the past bonus bundles. So I had a bunch of similar colors to the April color kits, and I am using those little beautiful embellishments. It's a sequin mix, so sequins and little, there's actually also little clay pieces in there, and I used those to embellish around the clusters of flowers, and then also some of the centers of the flowers. So I stuck those in a bunch of different places, and I love how that ends up looking in the close-ups. You'll be able to see some of that detailing. And then, of course, I took my pops of color here, and I am adding pops of color in the 4 main colors. So navy, pink, the yellow, and then the light aqua. So I very much enjoyed adding in all of those little details and all of the coordinating colors. So I've really just used the 4 main colors. And then I, off camera, added a piece from an acrylic piece from Bramble Fox that says "Live Out Loud." So I thought that was fun for the picture with all of my husband's family and the fun time we had with cousins. So here are some close-ups. Be sure and pop any questions down in the comments, and I hope you have an awesome day.